The art of letting go, the clutch of memory. Why we hold on to what hurts. There are wounds that don't bleed, wounds that time doesn't touch, not because they're deep, but because we keep them alive. Think of something you still carry, a moment, a person, a sentence that was said or not said. You revisit it when you're alone, maybe in your car, maybe in your dreams, maybe every time you hear that one song. You tell yourself you've moved on, but your nervous system disagrees. Your thoughts betray you. Your body flinches at the memory. You're haunted, quietly, privately, by the past. Why? Why do we hold on to what hurts us? Here's a secret. The mind doesn't cling to pain because it loves suffering. It clings because it thinks it's protecting you. Letting go feels like death to the ego. It's the death of identity. The death of the story you've been rehearsing for years. The story where you were the victim, or the hero, or the one that never got what they deserved. To let go of that means you're no longer that person. And that's terrifying. There's a child inside you, a younger version of yourself, who still can't believe what happened. They grip the memory like a lifeline. If I hold on, maybe I'll finally understand. If I hold on, maybe they'll come back. If I hold on, maybe I can rewrite the ending. But memory isn't just recollection. It's possession. And sometimes you're not remembering the past. The past is remembering you. You're not reliving a moment. The moment is reliving itself, through you. Your pain becomes a ritual, a sacred rewounding. Not because you're broken, but because you're still waiting for closure that will never come. And here's the twist no one wants to admit. You don't actually want to forget. Because forgetting feels like betrayal. Letting go of the pain feels like letting go of them. Letting go of you. Letting go of the only version of reality you've ever trusted. So we cling. To their voice. To what could have been. To who we were before it all changed. But ask yourself this. What is holding on costing you? What is it stealing from your present? How many new joys have you silently rejected because they didn't match the old high? How many people have you kept at arm's length because they weren't them? How much of your peace has been spent, keeping ghosts alive? You think you're honoring the memory, but sometimes you're just avoiding your future. Let's get brutally honest now. Sometimes we hold on because suffering gives us identity. I am the one who was left. I am the one who got hurt. I am the one who failed. And what would you be without that? To the ego, emptiness is more terrifying than pain, because at least pain is familiar, at least it makes sense. But letting go, that's the abyss, that's the leap. And yet, that's exactly where your freedom lives. You are not weak for struggling to release. You're human. We all carry our altars to the past. But at some point, you must look in the mirror and ask, am I worshipping something that's already dead? Because you can't resurrect what's gone, but you can rise from it. The art of letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering without reliving, honoring without reenacting, loving without bleeding. It begins with a simple, devastating truth. The past is over. Not because it wasn't real, but because you're still alive, and your life is waiting. If you felt this in your bones, drop a comment and tell us what you need to let go of. The story, the person, the illusion. Because here on My Therapist, we're not just talking about healing, we're doing it together. The art of letting go. Part 2. The addiction to what was. When nostalgia becomes a cage, there's a special kind of prison that looks like a photo album. It smells like your old sweater. It plays your favorite song at just the wrong moment. It doesn't scream or shackle you. It seduces you with the memory of how good it used to be. This is the trap of nostalgia. Let's talk about it. Because nostalgia isn't just remembering the past. It's grieving the present. It's secretly saying, this moment is not enough. And the truth is, some of us are so addicted to what was that we can't see what is. Meet Serena. She's 34. On paper, she's doing well. Job, apartment, good friends. But every night, she slips. Not into drugs or drinking, but into memories. She scrolls back through old texts from her ex, Leo, the one who broke her heart 2 years ago. She revisits their trip to Costa Rica. She replays the laughter, the late-night calls, the feeling of being seen. And then she shuts her phone off and stares at the ceiling, wondering why nothing now feels as alive as back then. Here's the part that's hard to admit. Serena doesn't just miss Leo. She misses who she was when she was with him. She misses the version of herself that felt radiant, worthy, magnetic. And because she can't feel that now, she keeps returning to the past, like an addict, looking for the old high. We all do this in some way. We romanticize the good old days, our college years, that one summer, that relationship we swear we almost got right. And instead of living forward, we start replaying backward. But here's the lie nostalgia tells you. That was the best it's ever going to be. And when you believe that, you stop letting yourself receive the new. You sabotage the present. You walk through life like a ghost, comparing everything now to a version of reality that no longer exists. Nostalgia becomes a cage with golden bars, and the key to the door is grief. Because to move forward, you must mourn what was, even the beautiful parts, even the versions of you that felt most alive. Let's pause right here and ask, what golden memory are you still chasing? And is it keeping you from living the life you say you want? Because here's the deeper truth. Most people don't fear change. They fear losing the version of themselves that once felt loved. We don't stay stuck in the past because it was perfect. We stay stuck because we felt something there we don't know how to recreate. But you're not meant to recreate the past. You're meant to integrate it, to thank it, to learn from it, to cry over it if you have to, but then, gently, release it, so you can feel alive again, but in a new way. Let me tell you what Serena did. She didn't erase Leo. She didn't throw out the pictures or burn the journal. But one night, she wrote something down. I loved who I was with him, but she's still in me. I don't need him to feel her again. That night, she cried, not because she missed him, but because she realized she didn't have to miss herself. That version of her, it was never about Leo. It was her essence, her capacity to feel, her power to give and receive love. It wasn't lost. It was just buried, beneath fear, beneath time, beneath the illusion that the past was the peak. Now she's building a new life. Not trying to copy the old one, but letting herself rise again, differently. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning how to stop living through the memory. Here's your soul prompt for tonight. Who or what are you romanticizing? What moment have you glorified beyond truth? And most importantly, what is it stopping you from experiencing now? Write your answers. Feel the ache. Then ask yourself, what might be possible if I stopped looking back? And if this hit home for you, drop a comment and tell us. What memory have you been addicted to? What golden cage are you ready to unlock? Because this community, it's not just watchers, it's healers. And your story might help someone else let go too. The Art of Letting Go. Part 3. Letting go of people who still live in you. Some people leave your life, but they don't leave you. They live in your memories, in your muscle memory, in the shape of your silence. They show up in your dreams, in the way you hesitate to trust again, in the songs you skip without knowing why. Let's get honest. There's someone you thought you were over, but their energy is still curled up inside your chest, like a ghost that won't rest. You tell yourself it's done. You've blocked them. You've burned the letters. Maybe even moved to a new city. But then, you catch a smell, a look, a sentence someone says, just like they used to. And suddenly, you're right back there. Not because you want to be, but because you never really left. Let's talk about why that happens. Because this isn't just heartbreak. It's soul entanglement. You didn't just lose a person. You lost a part of yourself. You felt most alive with them. That version of you, the one who laughed that way, loved that hard, opened that wide, feels like it only existed with them. So when they left, so did she. So did he. And now you're walking through life like an echo of who you were. Let me introduce you to someone. Elijah. He was 29 when it ended. 4 years with Maya, his first real love. They weren't perfect, but they had something raw, something sacred, until they didn't. It ended quietly. No big betrayal, just distance, growing apart. She moved on. New job, new city, new man. But Elijah didn't. He dated other people. He went to therapy. He got stronger on the surface. But late at night, in the spaces no one sees, he still talked to her in his head, still wondered if she thought of him, still saved her number in case she ever reached out. Until one night, he looked in the mirror and said something he had never admitted out loud. I'm not in love with her anymore. I'm in love with the memory of who I was when I loved her. That was the beginning of release. We don't just hold on to people. We hold on to versions of ourselves, versions we miss, versions we think are lost without them. But here's the spiritual truth. No one gives you your light. They might awaken it. They might mirror it. But it was always yours. And if you felt magic with someone, it wasn't just because of them. It was because of what you were willing to be when they were in your life. That version of you, that depth, that openness, that beauty, it's not gone, it's dormant, and it's time to call it back. Ask yourself this: whose energy still lives in you? Who are you still emotionally renting space to, even if they're long gone? What parts of you did you bury when they left? Write it down. No shame, just truth. Because here's the thing, letting go doesn't mean erasing them. It means reclaiming yourself. It means saying, thank you for the awakening. Thank you for the pain. But your role in this story is complete. It means cutting cords without hate. It means grieving what never got closure. It means feeling the ache fully, so it can finally pass. And if this is stirring something in you right now, let it. Cry if you need to. Yell. Hold yourself. Because these are sacred moments. These are soul-clearing rituals, if you let them be. And when you're ready, I want you to write a letter. Not to send, but to release. Write to the one who still lives inside you. Tell them what you never said. Tell them what you're taking back. And end it like this. You were a chapter. But I'm the author now. I choose me. If you made it this far, leave a comment below and tell us, who are you finally letting go of? You never know whose healing you might inspire just by speaking your truth. And if this series is resonating, make sure you subscribe. This journey isn't over. The Art of Letting Go. Part 4. The ego's final trick, mistaking pain for meaning. There's a strange thing that happens on the path to healing. You start to realize that you're not just holding on to pain. Pain is holding on to you, not because of what happened, but because of what you believe it means about you. Somewhere deep inside, a voice says, if I let go of the suffering, who am I without it? If I stop hurting, do I lose the depth I thought made me special? If I forgive them, does that make me weak? This is the ego's final trick, not to keep you in misery, but to convince you that misery gives you meaning. Meet Marcus. He grew up in chaos, violence, abandonment, a father who left before he could even speak. He clawed his way to adulthood with a chip on his shoulder the size of a mountain. By 30, he was the strongest person in every room, and the saddest. He was spiritual, deep, aware, but every conversation, every post, every late-night thought loop revolved around the same theme. I've been through so much, and he had. But something else was happening beneath the surface. Marcus had built an identity around the pain. It gave him a story, a purpose, a persona. He became the survivor, the one who felt more, the one who saw through the illusions of others because he had suffered more deeply. But secretly, he was tired of bleeding to feel real, tired of carrying the story like a cross on his back, tired of being defined by what had broken him. One night, during a quiet moment of meditation, a new question arrived, not from the mind, but from somewhere deeper. What if my pain isn't who I am, but just where I stopped growing? It shattered him, and it set him free. Let's unpack the deeper truth here. The ego is terrified of being nothing, so it clings to something. And pain? Pain gives it something powerful, significance. It says, see me. I've suffered. Respect me. I've endured. Don't mess with me. I've bled. But here's the paradox. The more we hold on to pain for identity, the more we stay trapped in it, by choice. Because if your suffering gives you value, you'll sabotage any attempt to heal. Freedom starts to feel like loss. Joy starts to feel like betrayal. You unconsciously reject peace, because peace doesn't reinforce your story. Let me ask you something. Are you still hurt? Or are you holding on to hurt to stay significant? Are you still angry? Or does anger make you feel powerful in a world where you once felt powerless? Are you still in pain? Or does pain help you avoid the terrifying truth that you are free to create a new life right now? It's not shameful if the answer is yes. It's human. The ego survives by keeping score, by saying, look what I've been through. But the soul whispers, let it go. You were never broken. You were just buried. Here's the practice. Sit with the version of yourself that's still carrying the story, the one who wears the wound like a badge. Tell them this. You don't need to suffer to be worthy anymore. You don't need to carry pain to prove you survived. You're allowed to be free now. Then ask yourself, who would I be if I stopped needing my past to define me? Let that question rattle the old structures. Let it crumble the altar of pain. Let it show you this. You are not your wound. You are the one who walked through it and kept walking. if this hit you in the gut. Let us know in the comments. What old identity or pain are you finally ready to release? Because when you speak it out loud, you start taking your power back. And if this is waking something up in you, make sure you subscribe. The real work begins now. The Art of Letting Go, Part 5. The Sacred Release. How to let go without losing yourself. Letting go. Sounds poetic, right? Instagram quote-worthy. Maybe tattooable. Maybe even something you've said out loud after a glass of wine, staring out the window like a tragic philosopher. But when it's real, when the moment comes to actually let go, it doesn't feel poetic. It feels like grief. It feels like ego death. It feels like you're walking off the edge of a cliff with no guarantee you'll land. Because the truth is, letting go is not a gentle goodbye. It's a rebirth. And most people aren't afraid of releasing the past. They're afraid of what's left when it's gone. You might be wondering, if I let go of them, do I lose the love I felt? If I let go of who I was, do I become someone hollow? If I let go of the pain, then who the hell am I? Let's clear the fog. Letting go doesn't erase your experience. It doesn't delete the love. It doesn't amputate your past. It integrates it. It says, I don't need to keep hurting in order to keep what I've learned. Because freedom isn't forgetting. It's releasing the emotional contract that says you must suffer in order to be loyal. Here's where it gets practical. Step 1. Identify the hidden hooks. You can't let go of what you haven't named. Ask yourself, what am I still trying to fix, prove, or control? What emotion do I revisit the most? Guilt, anger, longing? What would I have to feel if I actually let this go? Write it. No spiritual bypassing. No pretending to be over it. Get real. And if the answer is, I don't want to let go because I'm afraid I'll feel empty without it, congratulations. You're already halfway there. That's the shadow confessing itself. Step 2. Cut the emotional contracts. Letting go isn't just energetic. It's psychological hygiene. You've made invisible agreements with people who no longer exist in your life. You've promised to carry the weight, to keep the pain alive, to never forget, to never stop longing. But here's the permission you didn't know you needed. You're allowed to break those contracts, even if the other person is gone. Even if no one says thank you. You're allowed to say, this soul agreement is complete. I release you. I release me. Even if it makes you cry. Even if it feels like betrayal. Even if it leaves your ego scratching its head like, wait, that's it? Yes, that's it. And that's everything. Step 3. Rebuild in the space you created. Letting go is not the end. It's the invitation. Now comes the real question. Who are you without the grief, the story, the guilt, the mask, the memory? And let's be real. This part is awkward. Like waking up after a long nap in someone else's house. You're here. You're free. But what now? Start simple. Do one thing the old you would have never allowed. Laugh without guilt. Flirt without fear. Rest without punishment. Let this new version of you be a little wild, a little clumsy, a little imperfectly reborn. Because you're not trying to recreate the past. You're giving yourself permission to exist beyond it. And finally, don't forget to laugh. Yes, this is sacred work. But if you can't laugh at your own spiritual drama, you're missing half the healing. You've been the brooding mystic. You've wandered the dark night of the soul. You've performed the heartbreak opera enough times to win a Tony. Now it's time to smile, to say, wow, I really dragged that out, didn't I? Because nothing humbles the ego like a good cosmic chuckle. So here's your final homework. Warrior of the soul. Write a release letter. Not to them, to yourself. Say everything that needs to be said. And end it with, I am no longer who I was. I release you. I choose me. Perform a physical act of release. Burn the letter. Bury the object. Wash your hands in cold water and breathe like it's your first breath. Create a ritual of re-entry. Do something new. Unusual. Joyful. Play a new song. Dance badly. Call someone who makes you laugh. Prove to yourself you're not the same. If this series set something free inside you, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you're walking away from. Tell us who you're becoming now. Because here on My Therapist, this isn't a performance. It's a practice. And freedom isn't a myth. It's a decision. Subscribe if you haven't already. Because this journey doesn't end here. It begins here.